Regrettably, we're on to the home stretch, the final few segments of TwinTech 2020, our digital Rubicon. I'm so excited to be here with Anna Catalano, my good friend, Twin co-founder, who will interview on our behalf a new friend of mine. We've met a couple of times over the past year in various ways, and as we like to say in Twin, never leave serendipity to chance. So when serendipity intervened not once but twice, I said, we have to get this person to Twin. Not only serendipity, but how often do you meet someone who both makes extraordinary change happen in the world as CEO of XPrize, but who's also been an astronaut? Yes, this is an unretouched photo. So you knew we had to make this happen. Anousheh Ansari and I met last year, the first time at the United Nations through Kunal Sood, the founder of Novus. And then later on, we were reintroduced by Maria Filipova and her team at Anthem, our great sponsor and partner for TwinTech. Anna, all yours.
Thanks, Rob. In 2006, Anousheh Ansari captured headlines around the world when she embarked on an 11-day space expedition, becoming the first female private space explorer, the first astronaut of Iranian descent, the first Muslim woman in space, and the fourth private explorer to visit space. Among her many notable achievements, Anousheh is CEO of XPrize Foundation, the world's leader in designing and operating incentive competitions to solve some of humanity's grandest challenges. So Anousheh, welcome to Twin. I am so glad Rob invited you to join.
Oh, thank you, Anna. It's wonderful to be with you and Rob and participate in this wonderful event.
That's great. So the topic that we were assigned to talk about today is the topic of purpose. And although you and I could probably spend a lot of time talking about many topics, I need to try and stay true to this. So on the topic of purpose, it occurs to me that you must have at some point felt that it was your purpose to become an astronaut. So at what point in time did you start thinking about that purpose?
I was very young. I was probably 6, 7 years old, growing up in Iran, and I don't think I thought about it in the sense of this was my purpose, but the fact that I was curious and I wanted to know more about what's out there in the night skies when I looked up at night is what drew me to space and astronomy, astrophysics, and wanting to become an astronaut. And it became something that I was just fixated and fascinated with. And basically throughout my life, I've sort of been trying to find my way to find a way to live in space maybe at some point. I even prayed for aliens to come and abduct me when I was a little kid. So,
not many people pray for aliens to come and abduct them, but I think that just goes to show your brain was wired a little bit differently, and it was your destiny to become what you are. Let's talk about scaling that impact. There are people who become astronauts and then they stop at being an astronaut because that's actually quite a lot. And for a lot of people, quite enough to become an astronaut. I mean, to go into space, to be on the space station, that's quite an accomplishment. But you did that and decided you weren't done. Because not only do you want to inspire people individually, you now run an organization that hopes to inspire organizations around the world to solve complex problems. So tell me a little bit about the work that you do and what drives your sense of organizational purpose, enterprise purpose, in the organization you run, XPrize.
I'm actually one of those people who can just sit there and do nothing. You will never find me lounging
I find that surprising.
So I don't think I'm ever done until I'm dead. But it comes from that sense of, you talked about purpose, actually. So when I looked at the night skies, those, early years in Iran, I was trying to figure out why I'm here, why I'm on this planet called Earth and not someplace else, and why now, and why in Iran. So I always felt that there is a purpose to life of every single person on this planet, and you have to just find it and make sure you achieve that. So that's how you completely live your life. And when I went to the International Space Station, not only I achieved the dream, but also I had this incredible opportunity to look at the world through a different lens, through the lens of being in space and looking at our planet, not looking for my country, but looking at my planet as my home. So it was looking at a place where all of my dreams, all of my education, my memories, my school, everything I knew and I was in front of me, and I was able to be in this position to look at it and reflect back on it. And what I saw was this amazing, beautiful world that is very unique, and it had such energy in this dark background of the space behind it. And for the first time, all those books you see in the geography lessons where you have these big lines drawn that separates us all sort of disappeared, and we were all one. And we had this beautiful gift of a planet that sometimes we have a hard time understand or appreciate. And it was a humbling experience, an empowering experience at the same time. It was humbling because I would sort of zoom out and see the universe and how small our planet is and how small me and my life is compared to the universe. And on the other hand, everything in front of me shrunk. So the problems and issues of the world also shrunk to a smaller size, to a manageable size, where I felt empowered that we can do something. And when I saw the entire humanity as one sort of collective unit and the problems shrinking, I felt like there's nothing that we can't do if we just work together.
You're dealing with a lot of very, very complex problems that you're trying to solve. What do you think is the greatest challenge for people to kind of get their arms around some of these big issues?
I think sometimes the problems are so big or so complex that not many people have the wherewithal to think about it or try to even solve it. So lack of information and knowledge is one area. The other area is some of these problems will take a long time before you can solve it, or all the risks involved with the failure in solving it and the investments required. So getting people to invest in these types of very, very high risk and very long-term potential return is difficult. So that's why competitions work well in these scenarios, because with the prize purse, with the competition, you put like a little carrot that's not too far out, but enough to get someone interested to actually try to solve the problem. So you create that initial interest. And through the lens of the competition, we're also able to really break apart the problem, a complex problem, into the most important pieces, what usually engineers and developers talk about most viable product. So we're able to set the parameters of the competition around solving not everything, but those most difficult, most important issues involved with solving the problem. And we set those as criteria for winning the prize. And one way that XPrize is very different than other organizations that may use competition is that we're not satisfied with just the idea and a solution that's on paper. We want you to build the solution and physically demonstrate that you've solved the problem before we award the prize. That's why the prizes we run usually are maybe 4 or 5 years and very complex, and the prize purses are in tens of millions of dollars.
So you must see a lot of crazy ideas that come your way. Can you share with us what is the craziest thing you've seen come through XPrize that people try and do? I'm curious. You must get all kinds of bizarre ideas and off-the-wall people that come trying to win these purses. So yes. Is there something that stands out that was just fantastic or hilarious that that you've witnessed that you can share?
First of all, we love crazy ideas. We believe that the day before anything is a breakthrough is a crazy idea, and that's the motto that our founder Peter has instilled in us. So we love crazy ideas, but we also have seen people come from all walks of life. One of the stories that we tell around the office is one of our prizes was an oil cleanup prize, where this was, I think, after the oil spill, Exxon Valdez oil spill, and we launched a quick challenge to really advance the technology of oil cleanup, and it was an industry no one had touched for decades. And when we launched the prize, actually one of the finalists was a team that came about because there was a dentist who wanted to get a tattoo, and he went to a tattoo parlor and started talking to a tattoo artist about this thing he read about an oil cleanup prize. And they started talking about, well, what do you use for cleaning the ink for the tattoo, and what do you use in dentistry? And they started, talking and came up with a solution out of their knowledge of dentistry and being a tattoo artist, and created a solution that made it all the way to the finals. We had the junior high school team also win. We had the high school team that was part of our 100 miles down, one of the earlier prizes we launched. So we see all ages and all backgrounds in competitions, and so we don't dismiss the ideas at the beginning unless it breaks the laws of physics, which sometimes we see people proposing solutions that we know it breaks the laws of physics. So don't pay too much attention.
So breaking the laws of physics is crossing the line of craziness, but I love the idea that the day before something is a breakthrough, it's a crazy idea. At Twin, one of the things we pride ourselves on is one of the pieces of magic of this organization is that we bring together what I call people from different orbits. And that's a good word to use because I'm talking to an astronaut. But the benefit of talking to people who aren't customarily in that field of study is often what will unlock the innovation, because people think differently. So the idea of a dentist and a tattoo artist getting together to solve the problem of an oil spill is just great for me, because you have a lot of people who are in that business that can't think outside the box because they've been doing it a certain way, and they keep incrementalizing. And sometimes to solve these big problems, incrementalizing is not going to get the solution, right? So I think it's wonderful that you attract people who aren't bound by the regular rules of who can work with whom to solve problems, and you encourage collaboration. That's a very Twinian thing that XPrize is all about. What advice do you give to people who just they just keep running into one wall after another, and they're giving up? What advice do you give to people that are about ready to give up?
So let me maybe start by the first part of your question, which is about actually going after something and what stops us sometimes. And that has to do with fear and allowing ourselves to be fearful of failure. Sometimes, especially as we achieve more in life, if we have a good life, good job, and in a comfortable place in life, it's hard to take risks. So you can achieve anything great without taking great risk. And a lot of times, especially young women, what I've seen is as women, when we grow up, we're taught to be perfect. So it becomes difficult for us to take on things that are risky and have a high chance of failure, because then our perfect record is broken. Limited thinking is what usually prevents us from going after big dreams and big ideas. And if you're going after something you are truly, truly passionate about, and when you sleep, when you are walking, when you are, sort of in the shower, you're thinking about this. This is what comes to your mind when you have any time to yourself. That means you're passionate about something. And big things are difficult to achieve. And because they're difficult, you're bound to, hit your head against several walls before you can get through. And when you when you reach a place where you're not making progress and you're hitting the wall one after another, sometimes you just need to take a break. You just need to sit down and re-energize and maybe look for a different way. Maybe you should not try to go through the wall. Maybe you should go over the wall, around the wall. So finding another way, maybe it's taking a step back and trying to look around and find a different path. In life, I wanted to live a life where I don't have regrets and make sure that if something is important enough for me, that I have at least tried it and give it my best energy to achieve it. And if I still can't succeed, then I didn't succeed, but I did everything that was possible and in my power to do. And I think I would recommend people look at it through that lens, because imagine if you're 90 years old and you're looking back at your life and you come across that point that you gave up. Would you feel good about it, or would you wish that you didn't and you continue to try? And if the answer is you wish you could have tried, then your answer is there. Try it. Don't give up.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is someone who definitely knew what her purpose was. No doubt about that. At a young age, she looked at the night sky and was curious, she said, and wondered what it would be like to go up there. And then once she was up there, she looked back on a planet and realized that there was more to do. What an inspirational story. The day before anything is a breakthrough, it's a crazy idea. Don't allow ourselves to be too afraid of failure. And the largest barrier to whether or not people can achieve what they want is limited thinking. Anousheh, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a real treat for me personally. I know it's been a real treat for everyone who's watching today. We do look forward to welcoming you in person at a future Twin event and hope you can join us. Thanks a lot for your inspiration and for your story.
Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you face to face one day soon.